Okay, so I am working through why the heck my motherboard blew up when I tried to power this thing on. Um, Spoiler, I'm still really confused because everything looks like it's checking out. The only thing that's maybe possible, something was shorted on the previous motherboard and maybe that's what's happened. So I'm gonna walk through what I did to test my motor. The first thing that I did was do a phase test. Phase wires. So your three motor phase wires is the yellow, the blue, and the green here. Basically all you do, you're gonna touch the phase wire leads to each other and you're gonna turn the motor. Oh, well, first things first, you need to make sure your motor turns freely, right? My motor turns nice and freely. Okay, so if I short two of these together, this is without any power applied to the motor. If I short two of these together, I should get some notchiness in the motor. I'm gonna do this with my foot. So this is hard to, hopefully you guys can see that this is kind of difficult to turn. So that means there's no short between those wires because the characteristic changes between it. I'm gonna do yellow to blue now. Same thing, still notchy. I'll do blue to green. Same thing, notchy. And then all three together. And that's really hard to turn. Let's try to do that. Okay, all three wires together, and that's really hard to turn. Okay, so phase wires, probably not shorted. The next thing that I did, and I'm not gonna show this, oh yeah, my charge distribution board is actually fine, but where this is, and there's one on the other side of it, there were 40 amp fuses, all three of them blew when my previous motherboard shorted. I have a bridge across all of them, so this is a very unsafe setup right now. I only have two batteries hooked in. The series gives me 134, which is enough for me to turn on the motherboard. Basically what I did the next thing I did was to check the hall sensor, and you have to do this with the board plugged, with the hall sensor plugged in. And yeah, so you don't have to plug in the motor phase wires, so I left those unplugged. But I turned on this motherboard with this hall sensor plugged in, and obviously you have to have the battery plugged in. No fireworks, nothing happened. And basically what I did is you take your multimeter and you're gonna plug in positive to red, negative to black. And that reading is basically your DC voltage to your ground, and that should be 5 volts. I got like 4.9, so that's within margin of error for the cheap multimeter I have. And then the next thing that you do is you plug in the positive on your multimeter into the green, and then the negative into the black. And then you're gonna rotate your tire. And as you rotate the tire, basically it's going to activate, or some of the hall sensors will either go high or low. So as you rotate it nice and slowly, you'll see the voltage change from 0 to some number between 2.5 volts and 5 volts. In my case, I was getting about 3 volts, and that checked out for the blue wire, the green wire, and the yellow wire. So that means that I don't have any hall sensor errors. I don't have any phase shorts or coil shorts or anything like that. So everything is pointing towards it was fine. And yeah, so I'm really confused as to why my first motherboard blew up. I really don't like coming to the conclusion that, oh yeah, it was a fluke, because the only other way for me to diagnose whether or not that's actually the case is to plug in another motherboard and send it. And obviously blowing up motherboards is kind of expensive. So yeah, I'm still kind of working my way through this. If I come up with any other possible ideas as to what the issue could have been, I'll record another video, but if anybody else has any ideas, feel free to let me know. Thanks.